Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Etheria restart video. It is finally launch day, and this is your plan for what to pull for, what to use your guaranteed summon for, and what to reroll for if you're really a crazy person. Here's the tier list, okay? Here, I'll hide my face for a second here if you want. Take a screenshot. So let me just kind of tell you where I'm coming from. I am a beta player that went through the entire beta. I didn't play the first initial test. And I am taking data from many other websites, including Hellhound and Pridewin, as well as many other fantastic creators out there that I've watched. That there are so many good Etheria Restart content creators out there that honestly I can't even think who I need to give a shout out to. But just know that this data is being pulled from many, many different sources and what I have kind of put my own twist on and of course done my own testing and experience with, okay? So also, this tier list is more to rank units rather than put them in actual tier, okay? So don't see a unit that maybe you think is good and be like, oh, they're B tier, but it's more just like stratifying the units in there, okay? And I add kind of more stratification than a lot of tier lists that you'll see. Okay, so with all that said, let's get into some notable SRs, okay? And first, I want to point out Marvel, okay? Marvel is sitting right here in the middle of B tier, and he took some heavy nerfs, okay? So this is all post the first patch that we got that nerfed and buffed different units after the completion of the beta test. And Marvel took heavy hits. He's just not going to be as good. Now, he will still be good as a one-time thing in PvP, but he's no longer going to be very good in PvE, and I just don't think he's worth building for most people. And I'm probably taking too long already. I don't want to spend too long because we got a lot of units to go through, okay? We're not going to talk about every single one, but the ones that are important. The next one I want to point out is Sonya over here. She also took a lot of nerfs in the patch, okay? She used to be amazing. I might have her a little too low on here. I just don't know because obviously we haven't gotten to play with her yet. But since we have Chiaki up here who got buffs to her healing, I think she's going to be the much better SR healer than Sonya, but who knows? Maybe that can change. Another SR that I want to talk about is Chiaki the Echo. So she has great turn meter manipulation and speed buffs. So she's going to be really good if you didn't pull one of the better ones, because we have some really, really good ones that we'll talk about in a second. Some other ones that fell off, or another one that fell off, is going to be Victor. Now, again, this is post debuff, and he took some pretty heavy debuffs. His damage is probably going to be far less than it was. Now, again, I might have him too low on here, but still, he'll have to prove himself again because he took a lot of debuffs from that first patch. All right, so now let's get to the good SRs. The first one is Gray. And honestly, I kept wanting to put Gray even higher, but when I looked at the things above him, I'm like, does he deserve to be like right next to like Tiamat and stuff? I don't know. But Gray is really, really good. He's a guaranteed SR that everybody will have. He has defense down. He's got crit buffs, big AoEs. He's very quick. He's going to be very good for farming some of the bosses in the game. Build Gray. Good in PvE and PvP. And then we have Kraken. Kraken technically did take some debuffs or some nerfs in the patch, but is still amazing. And relative to how much other units got nerfed, Kraken is a very, very minor nerf, and I think will still be an all-star. His freeze ability in both PvP and crowd control for certain stages is going to be extremely useful, and I plan on building this guy. He's got a cool personality to build him. Kraken is still absolutely worth it, trust me. And then Dina. This is the last SR that I want to point out that is honestly just like really, really good. She is going to help you with so many boss encounters. Her skill 3 debuffs is so good. She's another one that technically got nerfed, but is still a very strong unit. And everybody should be building this for like the raid boss, as well as the bosses that you farm shells from. The third one, I think it's Aurora, I can't remember its name. But she's good in just like so many bosses. Build Dina, whether you're a whale or not. Okay, so now let's get into the SSRs. This is probably what most people really want to know, and we're going to talk about the first one, Mio up here, which is someone that we haven't got to test at all. It's a new unit that they added post-beta, and I think Mio has the potential to be the best unit in the game, maybe not. I think you want to build a lot of effect accuracy to really take advantage of Mio, but Mio can do turn meter steal like Marvel did before the nerfs and freeze like Kraken did. And that's just insane to have that smashed into one character. Will be an absolute force in PvP and PvE. If you want to reroll like a crazy person for a LD character, there's light element and dark element characters that are even higher rarity. Mio is probably going to be a good pick for you, and I think that they may possibly be the best character in the game. I don't know. The next one is going to be Heinrich. And Heinrich, I think, if I was personally going to reroll, which I'm not, Heinrich might be my target. Heinrich does extremely useful things, okay? He is both a buff stripper and blocks heals, and these are just very rare effects. There's not a lot of characters that can cause wound that will mean that the character can't get healed. And then he's basically the only character in the game that can strip buffs, and that is so helpful. For both boss encounters and PvP, Heinrich is the man. I'm not even really a fan of his character, but just for his ability, he's amazing. I highly recommend Heinrich. And then Lily. Lily is another just kind of OP LD character. She has speed buff, she has cooldown reduction, she has attack buffs. Lily is going to be a very, very solid unit that's going to put a lot of things kind of on easy mode for you. Again, she's going to be good both in PvP and PvE. Okay, so those are kind of like your god tier characters. Now let's talk about what you might want to use your guaranteed summon on, because you are guaranteed a SSR of your choosing on one of the banners when you start the game. We'll talk about when you should use that later on towards the end of the video, but you can't get the light and dark characters on, okay? So these are all your RGB characters, your red, green, and blue ones. And at the top of the list, we have Rosa. And Rosa is most likely what I will be using my guaranteed summon on. Rosa is a DPS that is blue element, and she just hits like a truck. She has big damage, she has crit buffs, and she just like kills everything. She can also do a lot of follow-up attacks. So when she uses her other skill, she'll follow up with her skill 1. And it can get kind of nuts. And I think she is pretty definitively the best blue DPS and just one of the best DPS units in the game, possibly the best. Particularly in the late game, you're going to see Rosa become extremely useful. The next one is Hellkid, right next to Rosa here. Hellkid is extremely annoying to play against in PvP. Hellkid does some really useful things like making a barrier, he does attack debuffs, and he gives you debuff immunity, which I can't tell you how useful that is. Hellkid is a very frequent ban target, and if you don't have a good way to get rid of Hellkid quickly, you're probably going to lose the fight. And I have to say that even though I've been mentioning PvE and PvP, I lean towards PvP. So just keep that in mind. Because ultimately, if you're leveled up enough, you've farmed some gear, you can get through whatever you want in PvE eventually. And then those are kind of like the major ones, right? The other extremely good RGB character is going to be Ling Lo, but she's a free unit that we are all guaranteed to get on the 7th day for completing certain challenges, and she's an extremely good healer and a debuff cleanser, which is really useful, but you don't have to worry about re-rolling or using your guaranteed summon on Ling Lo because we all get her. Okay, so now we'll talk about a few other units that are really, really good, but aren't ones they would actually re-roll for, or ones that you will necessarily want to use your guaranteed summon on. And the first one is Messiah. He's still like just an amazing DPS that can do incredible AoE damage. He has his own immunity ability, very good in PvE and PvP. And then Doki Doki, really, really good unit for your like turn meter manipulation, speed. Same thing with Tsukiyomi. These are both extremely good units that I think will only get more and more helpful for you the later and later in the game. Probably won't be as strong for you initially, but once you get a little bit more of a mature account, they're going to be super good, and Doki Doki is one of my personal favorites. So just keep that in mind. They're very strong characters. But the thing about Doki Doki and Tsukiyomi and Messiah is that they're LD characters. So again, they're at their lower rarity, and again, you can't use your guaranteed summon on them. Messiah will be our first rate up banner. So if you really want to reroll for him, you can, but I've already said enough on that. I won't repeat myself more. Okay, so what else can we talk about here? Leanne, you should build Leanne, okay? And Leanne is sitting over here in the A tier. She hits really hard. She's a guaranteed SSR that we will all get. She has really big damage. She also can do some turn steal, and then she completes quests for resources, which is the most important thing you can do in the first week of the game. Complete those quests and they'll give you fantastic rewards. So build Leanne, make good use of her. She's going to be a very valuable unit. And then let's talk about some units that you're probably very surprised to not hear me talk about yet. And the first one is Tiamat. Tiamat, for a while, was everybody's favorite recommendation that you should use for your guaranteed unit. People would say that she's like the best unit in the game. And she was extremely strong, but she had huge nerfs in the patch, okay? So she heals herself less when she transforms, from 30% to only 10%, and her incremental heals and damage are going to go down because of that as well. And she was already proving to be very hard to set up. They had an official tournament. I did a meta-analysis of it, and Tiamat was just constantly crippled by not being able to be paired with a healer. And I think, she got some big debuffs. Clearly, she's still up here in the A tier, so it's not like she's a bad unit, but not nearly the force that she used to be. So I would probably avoid, trying to get Tiamat specifically. The other one I want to mention is Romoka. So she's this pink-haired girl. Can be very useful for some of the boss farming missions, but I don't think we want to focus on her. Some people have mentioned her as like a possible guaranteed summon target, but Rahu got massive buffs and was already pretty good in the beta, and is just going to do even more damage. And I think Rahu is going to be much better in PvP than Romoka, and will probably still be solid for you in PvE. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go up even more long-term in the game as well. But he was a little underwhelming in the beta, which is why I can't put him that much higher. So those are my recommendations for what to reroll for, what the best LD characters are, what the best RGB characters are, and what to use your guaranteed summon on. Now let's talk about the actual process of how I think you should do this. So you can reroll, but honestly, I just don't recommend it. And obviously, if you spent money in the beta, you're going to get that double reward back, and then you're not going to want to reroll anyway. If you do want to reroll, it's about a 12-minute process or so if you're efficient with it. So good luck to you if you are going for that. Again, try and go for either Mio, Lily, or Heinrich if you're going to bother doing that. The other recommendation I want to give is pull on the standard banner only. And this is crazy for normal gacha gamer logic. You always want to do the targeted rate up banners, but that is just not the case here. And that is because on most of the targeted banners, you can't, or I should say, not on most of them, on all of them, you can't randomly get the high rarity LD units. And if you're pulling for Messiah, you can only get Messiah. And the currency to pull on the LD banner is completely different, where you can get random ones, which obviously you'll just pull on that as much as you can, right? So ignore the Freya banner, ignore the other things, wait on that guaranteed summon and pull on the standard banner only. But speaking of the guaranteed summon, wait to use that guaranteed summon for at least the first day, okay? Pull as much as you can, try and get the units, progress through the game, and then see what you need at that point. You can even possibly wait to use that guaranteed summon up to 14 days, because at 14 days, you unlock another quest where you can get a guaranteed SSR. Now, it is random, but still, you might get what you were planning to target on the guaranteed banner. So the point is, use the guaranteed banner to get what you need, okay? What you're missing. Because like if you randomly already pulled Hellkid, then obviously, you can use your guaranteed banner on Rosa or vice versa. Whatever the thing is that you're missing, you want to target that, not necessarily what you want to use right away, because you might just get lucky in the initial part of playing. But ultimately, play with the units that you like. I always recommend having fun. If you think a unit is cool, build them. Like, I'm a huge fan of Doki Doki. Even if I don't get as good a value out of her in PvP right away, I'm going to be building her because she's my personal favorite. All right, let me know what you're planning to do. Good luck to you. I will be streaming right away at launch at 2 a.m. my time in California. and we will be starting our union immediately. We got a list of people that are ready to jump in. If you want to join my union at the last minute, we do have a few spots left. Let me know. Link to my Discord in the description below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss more Etheria Restart news. Next video is going to be an equipment guide, and I'll catch you guys on stream.